Imagine an entertainer who mixes comedy and hypnotism, and all with a sexy twist. That's exactly what our guest does for a job. I'm Penny Lane, and In the Driver's Seat starts now. For 40 years, Tony Lee has travelled the world hypnotising his unsuspecting audience. But incredibly, he's never played in Australia. And you wouldn't believe some of the things this funny man has done for a job before becoming an entertainer. Tony Lee, welcome to In the Driver's Seat.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited. You are absolutely infamous Penny Lane, and it's a pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you on. Now, you mix comedy, hypnotism, and it's got a sexy twist. That sounds like a very dangerous combination. Tell me more, I'm intrigued.
Well, I'm going to date myself, back in the mid-'80s, I didn't believe in hypnotism. I actually hypnotized a girlfriend by accident. I was on a piss-up, I came home, and I said to her, let me try to hypnotize you. So I said to her, I says, you're getting sleepy. But I was drunk, so it's the only thing I could remember. So I kept repeating it. And somehow, at the end, after 2 minutes, she fell over. Now, first of all, I'm thinking, did she pass out, or is she hypnotized? So I gave her a few suggestions, and she did everything I told her to do, and I was blown away. I thought, this stuff is actually real. And
did you marry her?
That's how I got into it. And the things that she did were unbelievable, consensually.
Have you always been funny?
You know what? I don't title myself, say, as a comedian. However, over the last 40 years, we've been very blessed and privileged. We've done 10,000 live performances. So we were working every day, and sometimes several times a day. And while you're on stage, I've got 90 minutes of time where you almost, it becomes so redundant, you start becoming bored. So you're entertaining yourself. So I start saying things to people, and I get a laugh and go, oh, I'll keep that one because, that sounds funny. Like here, I moved to Jamaica a year ago, and we come up on stage, says, I love Jamaica, wonderful place. I'm going to bring my wife here. I'm all excited. It's going to be warm weather. And then I think to myself, well, wait a minute. How am I going to convince her now that 2 inches is actually average? And so that's why she's not here.
Tell me about your early life. What did you do before this?
Well, I was a DJ. I was in the food and beverage industry. I was back in the mid-'80s. I was involved with some naughty things and had a very alternative lifestyle, which I guess would be borderline criminal. I was fortunate. I was one of those people that saw the light. I was one of the few people that were not incarcerated or didn't get killed. And I ended up moving out to Ontario and discovering that entertaining people was what I wanted to do. I wanted to become a cop. I wanted to work for the Canadian version of the Secret Service, which was CSIS. But I thought with this new skill, I'd go and explore Canada or explore the world for a year. But the problem is I made really good money doing it. So I didn't actually go into a line of law enforcement. I just kept making people do things that I thought were funny, which would be shagging chairs, having orgasms, and just having good, clean fun. Sort of.
I've seen the shows and they are outrageous, but absolutely hilarious. And you were once a bodybuilder.
Yes, I figured, growing up as a kid in Calgary, I was a visible minority, and I knew I was. I grew up with rednecks, cowboys, and bikers as, a small little Asian kid. I'm 140 pounds, and I thought to myself, man, why? I need to get properly fit. Why? Because, I'm looking around going, wow, she's attractive, but not attracted to me. So I wanted to, get in the gym and start working out, and I ended up winning the provincials in Saskatchewan, and then ended up going to the Westerns and competing at a national level in bodybuilding, and obviously all the steroids and everything that came along with that, which I don't mind saying now. So it was quite an adventure.
And martial arts and cage fighting?
Yes, so I was taking Kung Fu at the time, Shaolin Kempo, and up until, what years is it now? So it's about 17 years ago. I was close to my 40s. I reached my midlife crisis. And, you know, my training with bodybuilding and martial arts, I decided to, for some strange reason, go into mixed martial arts. The Canadian Olympic coach approached me to help train some of the UFC fighters, some of the regular fighters, using my hypnosis and conditioning for their mental conditioning. And I quickly realized that the coaches really weren't paid well. And I wanted to do something to contribute back. I was in that self-destructive mode. I didn't drink and buy a Corvette. Instead, I trained for 6 months, and I figured if I get my ass kicked for 2 minutes to raise tens of thousands of dollars for kids and coaches and athletes, it was worth it. And it just so happened I was so petrified and scared, I actually won the match in 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then my coach retired me and says, "You're done." So it's one of those check marks of been there, done that, fought at a pro level, retired undefeated, and that just told me that I could do anything, and my midlife crisis was over.
Fantastic. I've got so much respect for anybody that can get in the ring. Now tell me about the hypnosis. How did you know that you could do it? Apart from your girlfriend early on, who did you practice on after that?
Well, back then I was a food and beverage manager. I was running a Hard Rock Cafe at the time, and literally, you got to remember, this is before the internet. The Commodore VIC-20 was out, and it's not like I go online and research it. So I literally, everybody I could find that I could experiment on, I did. I said, "Come on in, let me try something on you." And I'd sit them down, and a couple of times, you know, back in those days, they wouldn't wake up. And I remember saying to myself, "Please wake them up, I'll never do it again." And, you know, obviously they woke up, and I didn't really know a lot about it. I joined a society of therapeutic hypnosis back then and had a therapy background and got in as a massage therapist, which I was at the time. But really, I developed my own style, my own methods over the years, and that developed into what now has become one of the best-selling shows in Canadian history, and touring Canada, the UK, New Zealand, the UAE, all over the world, and has become one of the best-selling shows, over 10,000 shows in 40 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, what's your favourite thing to get people to do when you're on stage?
Well, if you were to think in your imagination, what would you dread or what would you like to have an experience? I've probably done it all. Now, everything we do, we're very sensitive, meaning that we would never degrade anybody. We wouldn't take anybody to that point where it's destructive or it's just improper. But sometimes when you describe it, and I remember when we'll be sitting in a restaurant before the show with my tour manager, and he goes, "What do you want to do at the show?" And says, "Okay, well, what if we get a guy to think he's experienced his very first menstrual cycle? Wouldn't that be funny, right?" So it's funny, right? So you guys, when you awaken, you're going to experience your very first menstrual cycle, and what's wrong? And you get one of the blokes going, "Oh, you know, it hurts," and going to the other bloke would go, "Piss off!" You know, it's that stereotype of what they believe. Hilarious. Menstrual cycle. But then I said, "Well, let's take it a step further." It says, "Well, come on up. I know something that will help. Would any ladies in the audience happen to have any tampons?" So it would be raining tampons on stage, and I'm thinking, this is wonderful. So I'm picking these things up. That's how I know literally how every tampon works, because I've been educated one to pull apart, push in, one that have wrappers, pull a string out. So anyways, I would bring these blokes up, and then I make them as, not only are you experiencing your very first menstrual cycle, but you're also going to demonstrate to the audience how to properly insert a tampon. Now, of course, they are not naked, they don't have a vagina. So I says, but and once you explain it, your lips have turned into your vaginal opening, and then they insert the tampon, and they have the string hanging out for the rest of the show, right? So it's funny.
Oh my gosh, my palms are sweating. I'm scared. I'm so easily led. Do you think you could hypnotize me?
Oh, you know what? That is completely up to you, and I believe that you are a perfect subject. Just close your eyes. Shake your hand. Sleep. I want you to lean back and pretend you're grabbing a steering wheel right now. And you'll find as you're grabbing the steering wheel right now, you're starting to take off down the highway. You're proud owner of a brand new Lamborghini Hurricane. You'll find you're cruising down the highway doing 80 kilometers an hour right now. Wind's blowing in your hair right now. But none of your friends know yet you bought this brand new Lamborghini because you won the lottery just a little while ago.
So what's next for Tony?
Well, I retired before COVID because I thought after doing 10,000 shows that would be sufficient. However, I miss, we live in a world where there's so much going on. There's so much negativity, so much mental duress. And I think this is an escape for people to go have a good laugh, no matter what sexual preference you have, what age you are, what culture you come from. They come and they just forget everything for 90 minutes and they leave having a fantastic experience.
Fantastic. Tony Lee, you are an absolute legend. Thank you so much for joining me in the driver's seat.
God bless you being in the driver's seat because I would not be good in the driver's seat.
In the driver's seat is brought to you by the Perfect Cosmetics Company. This is Tika and we'll be right back.